Have you ever wondered why Christians locate heaven elsewhere and not here on earth? Have you ever thought about how that impacts our expectations of ourselves? Like, if heaven's someplace else, then what does that mean for here? So, if heaven is elsewhere, does that mean hell is here? And if hell is here, how does that permit us to act? Well, these are questions that I'm going to explore today in this video. I'm Kerry Blaser, Bizaglo, reincarnation of Mary Magdalene, the Divine Feminine. Please like and subscribe. It'll help share my channel and help me grow my channel so I can share my free ebook, The 6 Divine Feminine Self-Love Strategies to help everyone learn how to heal from their childhood trauma. So, the Pope made Mary Magdalene a prostitute in the 6th century. Then in 1969, a year before I was born in this lifetime, the Pope made Mary Magdalene an apostle. And then 1 year after I started healing from my childhood trauma in 2016, Pope Francis made Mary Magdalene the top apostle. So our views of what's true and what's not true change over time. And now we have a lot of scientific evidence about souls, energy, and how reality is created. So I'd like to start us off with a video from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who uses an Einstein quote. And the quote is, "The field is a sole governing agency of the particle." That's Einstein. The field, like the energy field, is the sole governing agency of the particle or the body. So physicists have proven that we all have energy bodies and that all of our energy bodies are connected through our heart space. And they've also proven that our energy bodies, communicate out through our hearts, and that via our emotions, souls communicate via emotions, and then the nervous system in our heart is far more complex than the nervous system in our brain, and the heart sends far more signals to the brain than the other way around. The electromagnetic field around the heart is 5,000 times stronger than the brain. I mean, this is, phenomenal stuff. So in taking that seriously, let's listen to Dr. Joe Dispenza and have him share how he sees this Einstein quote and how it can help us understand ourselves.
Einstein said the field, the wave, the energy is the sole governing agency of the particle. Energy controls matter. He didn't say particle controls the particle. He said the field controls the particle. If you change the information in the field, can you change the projection, the particle in three-dimensional reality? This is a holographic universe. So if the quantum field is an invisible field of energy that exists beyond our senses, beyond our body, our environment, and time, and the only way we are going to connect to it is take all of our attention off our body, all of our attention off the environment. What's the environment made of? People, objects, things, places, and take all of your attention off of linear time, the predictable future and the familiar past, and find the sweet spot of the generous present moment. That's the unknown. That's the door. That's the moment you become nobody, no one, no thing, nowhere, no time. That is the moment you are pure consciousness. And that is the moment you're walking through the door to the quantum field. Einstein said the field.
So the field controls the particle, okay? If we're having 2,000 years ago when Jesus Christ and Mary Magdalene were alive, we didn't have all of this knowledge about the field. They had a lot of awareness. Early Christians, talked a lot about how self-love creates heaven on earth. That's in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene that we found in 1897, another copy in 1945. But when we locate things outside of ourselves, then we have a goal to achieve, something to reach, something to strive for. And I would say that's more of a, masculine pursuit. Feminine is the right brain activities, the forgiveness, the compassion, the nurturing, the emotions, the creation, the intuition. And women, now we know that women's bodies, the nervous system in our bodies, are far more complex and robust than men's nervous system. So women are physiologically designed to channel source energy, to channel all these emotions and communicate these emotions, because that's what, is our robust nervous system is, and women are physiologically designed to do this inside work, connection to the heart, to the soul, as opposed to outside work where it's an external goals that are set in the left brain. So, my book is dedicated to I use a Cherokee proverb in my dedication that says, "A woman's highest calling is to connect a man to his soul so he can unite with Source, the universe, God. A man's highest calling is to protect a woman so she can walk the earth unharmed." Now, that's, the soul's inside work. It's the energy, the emotions. The protecting, that's outside work. Now, that seems aligned with feminine and masculine. But seeking heaven outside of oneself seems like a masculine pursuit to me. So then, I'm analyzing all this, kind of understand, Mary Magdalene was made a prostitute and repressed, and, why, Christianity seems like femininity institutionalized, because that's where you go for all the right brain activities, the forgiveness, the compassion, the nurturing, learn how to connect to self, to your soul. But then you're taught in the church to, allow a different soul, a masculine soul, Jesus, take care of forgiveness for you. Again, outside of yourself. So I hope that, we're all kind of starting to think, like, is this whole heaven outside of ourselves really what's going on? Now we have to do all this work here, and then after we die, we go to heaven. I'm like, okay, well, hang on a second. All the scientific evidence now, like Dr. Joe Dispenza is saying, the field governs the particle. So the particle could be, our collective energy field, and Earth being the particle. So when we hate ourselves, then the Earth hates itself. But when we love ourselves and understand that we're souls having a human experience, that our energy, our consciousness, and whether there's love in there, there's hate, determines what goes on in our body or on the earth. Like, healing from childhood trauma is the process of recalibrating one's nervous system to resonate with love, compassion, and enlightenment instead of fear, guilt, and shame. But, I've been doing that 10 years, and I finally got out of my Stockholm syndrome 10 years later. Like, it's a time-consuming process. But when the environment is fear, guilt, and shame, then that's what we take in. And so, let's watch a video of Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's the godfather of epigenetics, epi meaning before genetics. He routinely says that less than 1% of our diseases are caused by our genetics. And he also uses the same Einstein quote, "The field is the sole governing agency of the particle." Okay, and he has has done studies on adopted kids. And do they get the same kind of cancer as, their genetics or the environment that they're in? So let's watch and see what he can teach us here.
Whatever picture you hold in your mind, the brain releases complementary chemistry that matches that picture, and it releases it into the body. And the chemistry of the blood is what controls the genes and the behavior. Children, when adopted into a family where there's cancer running in that family, the adopted child will get the same family cancer. But the point, the adopted child has totally different genetics. What was the point? It was being adopted into a family where the programming of that child is what caused the cancer. It's consciousness who releases the chemistry to the environment that controls the genes. And you can change your consciousness, and you can change your environment. And all of a sudden I say, oh my God, we were programmed to be victims. It turns out we are masters of our genetic activity. And this is the new science called epigenetics. Whatever picture you hold.
So, this is what everything is showing now, that cancer vibrates at 100 hertz. Okay. But when we routinely love ourselves, love in the soul vibrates at 500 hertz. Enlightenment, let me bring that up. This is what really got me when I started to see that, oh my gosh, like if we all just understood how to operate our souls. Here I'm going to share the map of consciousness by Dr. David R. Hawkins that shows all of the emotions. So if we could all learn how to operate our souls, and that our souls communicate via emotions, and enlightenment being an emotion, then we could all understand that we create heaven on earth, because our external reality is a projection of our internal reality. We know that now. Because the field is the soul governing agency of the particle. So everything starts here and is projected onto the 5D. So I can understand, 2,000 years ago or 1,600 years ago during the Council of Nicaea, when they decided only to use 4 of the 21 Gospels from early Christianity to create what we know now as the Christian church, that they didn't understand that the hell that they were living in was self-created. And we know now that the hell we're living in is self-created, but I'll get to another, like a Carl Jung quote in a second. But here is where it shows Dr. David R. Hawkins created this chart of how different emotions vibrate at different frequencies. So, we have 20 at the bottom, and that's like shame. Oh, I know that thing is, hang on, let me see. Here we go. So 20 at the bottom, and that's shame. We go up to grief is 75, courage being 200. Well, cancer cells resonate at like 100 hertz. And we know that the highest vibrating energy is the most transformative. So if you heal yourself and recalibrate your nervous system to resonate with love, peace and enlightenment, then you're going to be resonating in 500 and 1,000 hertz routinely. Cancer cells can't survive in that environment. They won't survive because it naturally, let me show you another physics experiment. Let me close this down. It's called the synchronization experiment. You've heard that you're the summary of the 5 people you spend the most time around, right? Well, this is the physics experiment showing how that's true. Okay, so here we go. So we have the two in the middle, the second and the third one are the fastest ones. So you'll see that pretty quickly the other 3 align with the 2 fastest ones. So when a soul is routinely in love, joy and enlightenment, being 500 or 1,000 hertz, the fastest vibrating energy, then all the other souls that soul comes into contact with will naturally align with their higher vibrating energy, just like these 5 metrodome naturally align with the fastest metrodome. Like, I haven't been sick since before COVID. It's 2026. Okay, so proof's in the pudding, right? So when we think about, how we can help everyone change, that's proof that changing the world is an inside job. It's the energy. We have to change our energy. We have to change our hate into love to co-create heaven on earth together. But when did that time start? Only in 2012 during the Mayan time cycle. In 2012, the Mayan calendar, it was the end of a time cycle, not the end of time. And the new time cycle that was started is the time of self-healing. And that's 14 years ago? So we're not late. It's just time. Now is a time for everyone to learn how to operate their souls. It's a second coming that happened in September 2025 during an enlightenment experience that I had. So it's the time for us all to accept that we're souls having a human experience. And I'm going to share a quote from my book from Carl Jung. And I got to love me some Carl Jung, because that man understood some stuff. Okay, here we go. So Carl Jung said that he helped me understand enlightenment. He says, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Figures of light, I mean, to me, that's kind of a reference to Jesus Christ. And that's what we have to learn how to do in the Christian church. We'll pray to Jesus, pray to Jesus. Well, every single soul is a multidimensional divine being. And I'm the only I have sovereignty over my soul. So how does it help me that another soul forgave me when the whole point is me to come on earth and learn how to process my emotions and forgive myself? Like, we make mistakes so that we can learn. So, how is it useful for a religion to teach me to go to somebody else who does not have sovereignty over my soul and take away my opportunities to learn how to transform my self-hate into self-love, which is how we expand our consciousness, learn how to dive into my fear, guilt, and shame, and then come out with more wisdom? I mean, I had to learn that if I want Mount Everest-sized wisdom, I had to take on Mount Everest-sized wounds. I wasn't being punished. So, I'm just going to, leave you with that, think about it, is now that we know that, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, we live in a holographic universe. It's a projection out of our hearts onto the quantum field. And then what our soul resonates with, a vibrational match, is what draws our attention. I got a physics experiment about that too, that when like the tuning forks, if you put a 500 hertz tuning fork, here, I'll show you. The tuning fork, so 512 and 400, it doesn't even notice it's there. There's no resonance. There's no vibrational match. It's like as if they're in two different universes. Oh, when there's a vibrational match, it moves. Moving energy, alive energy, draws your attention. So, I had to accept the fact that we're all here to learn different lessons. When I see a movie with my best friend, what draws her attention is different than what draws my attention. And the field is the soul governing agency of the particle, because the wounds and wisdom in her energy field and her soul are different than the wounds and wisdom in my soul. So my perception will be drawn to different places. But that's how we learn our lessons. Both are equally valid. One isn't right, one isn't wrong, but that's how our souls create our own reality. Like the kind of men that I was attracting into my life before I healed are different than other women. But those men were specific for me so that I could learn to see myself and see where I had problems. Okay, so, we reincarnate on earth to turn our wounds into wisdom, to expand our emotional range. And now I'm here to help everyone experience enlightenment, because enlightenment is part of every soul's natural, healthy emotional range. And if we could all experience enlightenment and download wisdom and knowledge from the universe and let go of all of our fears, together, that's how we transform the earth. So we're here to create self-love creates heaven on earth. And science has proven it. Early Christians, knew what they were talking about, but it wasn't time yet. But the time is now. All right. Well, please reach out with any questions. Please like and subscribe and take my free ebook below. I also have a meditation and shamanic drumming video on the YouTube channel that you can check out if you need help, a meditation to ground into yourself and open your heart so you can learn how to talk to your subconscious, talk to your soul to turn those wounds into wisdom. All right. Take care. Bye.